so I want to take you back because one of the things you said when we first got into this conversation is that Mac Jones had a dreadful week at the Senior Bowl. And Blake and I weren't at the Senior Bowl. And what we got just reading the tea leaves was that Mac Jones stood out all week, except for the first day.
He stood out because everybody was so bad.
So I want to get into that, right? Because there's this thing that people don't understand from this idea of the Senior Bowl and all of that and the draft is that if you have a powerful agent, you can really drive a narrative and drive a stock with yourself. And a lot of these big-time draft analysts, a lot of their sources are these big-time agents and these lower-level scouts. And if players are pushed a certain way, that's why they kind of all have the players evaluated a certain way. And that's why when they have a second-round rated player, like 2 weeks before the draft, that guy turns into a first-round player, and they come on TV and tell you, I turned on more tape of him, and I realized he was a first-round player. But it's, no, people are telling you, and you're changing your opinion, and it's all of that, right? It's the draft is so much of, it's not, rather than being a business where people sit and do evaluations by themselves, there are a few people that do that. It is a groupthink exercise where people try to come to a consensus on players and people try to drive certain opinions on them. So I went on a little long tangent, but the point I wanted to get to is how many powerful people were at the Senior Bowl, and could you feel that that certain agents and coaches or scouts or anybody was trying to push a certain kind of thing your way as somebody who was covering the event?
Yeah, I mean, when you go and you talk with the players and they're with their family, their agents are there, so you want to speak with them first, and find out, hey, is it okay to talk to your agent? I mean, is it okay to talk to your player? Like, do you want to gain him more exposure? We'd love to have him on, and like that's how you have to frame things, right? I think it's a great point that you brought up with that, right? Because if I hadn't got a chance to watch every single throw, like again, the Mac Jones video that's out there is that one throw, which was really impressive. It was with anticipation. Yeah, it was nice anticipation, something that an NFL quarterback should be doing, right? When you put that up against what Jamie Newman was doing, what Ian Book was doing, what Felipe Franks was doing, what is that his name, or is something like that, right? Like they kept saying that I look like him. Yeah, I was like, I don't think I look like him, but dude, I look like everybody apparently this week. I don't know what the heck's going on, but I think in terms of when you compare it to the quarterback play that was there, maybe he stood out because he was making throws and reads that were normal, but man, he's just so many checkdowns and just like regular like 5 yards, 10-yard outs. It's not like, look, he'll be a solid quarterback probably in the NFL, right? And I don't even know why I'm saying it as dismissive, but when you're talking about drafting somebody, I want a little bit more upside. I want to be able to say that, this guy maybe needs a year or two, but his ceiling is much higher than Mac Jones. Mac Jones's ceiling is like, like great value Kirk Cousins, and I don't even I don't even know if that's a fair comp, but yeah, I was just throwing it out there. Yeah. Austin Rivers. There you go. That's what I look like too.
On that note, you did mention the Kirk Cousins thing. Oh, did you have something else, Fish?
Yeah. So if do you have one more question, or can I ask one more question?
You can go.
Okay, so you got to hear the buzz around Mac Jones, right? And I think something that gets lost in this process, and I think a lot of reasons why people misevaluate certain players, is that they look at the coaching that they received in college and they look at the system that they played in, and they think that's attributed to how good that player is. And they do it in the NFL too, right? Like people do it with Garoppolo or Goff or Baker Mayfield. A lot of these guys who play in very quarterback-friendly systems where the game is kind of processed for them. And, if you're a high-level thrower like Baker and you can make some big-time throws, and you succeed in that and you make some big-time throws. And then if you're Goff and Jimmy where the throws are dumbed down a little bit more for you, you make those throws, but your efficiency stats are going to be off the charts because the offense is so good. So when you look at Mac Jones in comparison to Jamie Newman, do you think that the only reason people are saying Mac Jones is better is because he got to play in that Steve Sarkisian offense and because he's been receiving NFL-level coaching the past 3 years?
And because Henry Ruggs, Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Smith, Waddle, are you kidding me? That's if you had all four of those receivers to start your team right today, you'd be through the roof. Like, that's what you look for, right? How is he doing without a guy who's always wide open, right? Guys don't understand you right now. You're going to another team. You're not going to play with Waddle and Devontae Smith next year, right? Yeah, that's a great point, man. Like, you have to look at the talent around him and how everything's built for him. Basically, there was wide open throws all over the place. Ruggs would be running wide open by himself, and you just got to put the ball where he's at, and he's got it. I'm not trying to dismiss that because a lot of quarterbacks can't do that, but that's the part that makes me nervous about him. Is do you need the best receivers in the country, one after the other, for you to be good? That scares me.
And I just had one quick follow-up because you guys are both Niners fans, so maybe, Jason, you can go first. But if there's one guy from the Senior Bowl that maybe is a first or second or maybe even third-round projection, who do you want them to get that would fit on the Niners roster, whether that's a quarterback, maybe D-back, O-lineman?
Look, put your fingers in your ears, 49ers fans. I'm going to play Madden. I don't want to play I'm not playing real football with this one. I want Michael Carter. I really am that impressed with him, man. It didn't matter the quarterback. It didn't matter the situation. They were throwing it to him in the flat. There's 3 guys in front of him. He makes 5 yards out of it. I didn't understand it. I don't understand it. Those plays don't look like highlights. But when you're able to make something with nothing, if you get a guy in space on one-on-one with him, he's going to be eaten up, man. He's just quick. The jump cuts. He's so elusive, man. It looked like he was covered in grease. Everybody who tried to put his arms around him, he just kept moving, man. And then to move the pile in that big thing, the kid he invites contact. I was just blown away by the kid, man. I had already heard that one more person, Demetric Felton. So last year we had Antonio Gibson go from wide receiver to running back. This year you got Demetric Felton go from running back to wide receiver. I want to see Michael Carter or Demetric Felton in a 49er uniform. In Kyle Shanahan's positionless offense, what Demetric Felton would be able to do. He doesn't run, so he's not running back routes. He's legit running wide receiver routes and running them very well. It's literally I was typing to someone said, "Who's your draft crush?" And I was like, I think it's Demetric Felton. The next play, they throw the ball to him on the sideline. He catches it. He makes a move, pushes the guy out the way. Boom, touchdown. I'm like, well, I was called that one, I guess, right? Yeah. No, Demetric Felton was somebody who there was a lot of buzz around while we were there. And then once you do it in the game, then that's it. Boom, you win the weekend, man. So it was a lot of them, man. I cannot wait to go back and watch the film when I actually get some sleep tonight. But tomorrow I will, and I can't wait to actually look through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll take that question, and I'm going to also live in the fantasy world as Jason, even though I'm pretty set that the Niners shouldn't take a wide receiver. For me, it's Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. Are you kidding me? The run game, the pass game, and Kittle. We're talking about the greatest yak of all time. And, of course, we got the yak covered, and we need offensive linemen. So this is just a fantasy pick. This is not who they should pick. I'm not saying the Niners should pick this. I'm just telling you that that's my favorite player in the draft. And if all things equal, that's who I would love to see playing for the team that I'm cheering for. And Blake, let's throw it back to you. Who do you like for the Packers? I know you like Michael Carter a lot. Is that your guy that you want for the Packers?
Yeah, so I'm honestly not familiar with what he's perceived to be drafted as. But I think Aaron Jones is probably going to walk. I know in the middle of the year they offered him a top 5 paid rookie or running back contract deal, and he didn't take it. So I'm actually going to go with Chuba Hubbard. And I honestly, so I am not the biggest Oklahoma State fan. I've only seen a few highlights and a few games of his, but I think he would fit that home run hitting. He can take it the length of the field any play that the Packers are going to miss when Aaron Jones is gone. I think Michael Carter is probably even better than Hubbard, and Hubbard's the 3rd ranked running back by most metrics, but I think Hubbard would be awesome in filling that Aaron Jones role of early down. And then Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon can play in there too. But I'm interested to see what they do at running back, if they get someone, if they keep Jones. But yeah, I'm kind of high on Hubbard as someone in that McVay, Shanahan, LaFleur. Maybe even he goes to the Falcons because they desperately need a running back. Either Michael Carter or Hubbard go there. I think it'd be interesting to watch.
I love Aaron Jones, actually. I really do. I just don't think he's coming back. If I had to and the reason that everybody's always asking me why haven't you done a mock? I still need more information. This is what made this Senior Bowl so juiced, is because it's going to be very limited combine. This was your last chance to really boost any stock that you had, and you can only go off of how many games they played this year and things like that. So it's not a full draft season, you know, because of COVID and things like that. So that's what kind of made this game really juiced, right? Like, you have to make your statement now. That's what I said. Like, this is what I mean. I'm not talking about in any typical Senior Bowl year, but Amari Rodgers probably pushed himself into the second round because you can only go off of what you saw, right? And that's like the lasting impression that you're going to see. He's going to go kill a 3-cone. He's going to look great, like in short spaces. And I mean, unless he bombs the combine, I don't see how he can like fall into the third round. I really don't.
So, guys, we've reached about 55 minutes. I don't want to take more of your time, Jason. I know you're exhausted. You've had a long couple of days.
You know, once you start talking, and you know, you guys are really smart, and it's awesome to like talk with you guys. And then like now you're getting me hype about talking about it again because I just was like poop. But this is fine, man. We're good, bro.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you coming on, Jason. And one thing I did want to say is I have a ton of respect for those guys that do the mock drafts, because it's a ridiculously difficult exercise, because you have to know like so many different players and be able to mock so many different players, and you have to make them all sound somewhat plausible, because every single fan is only there to read their team's person, and if their team's person isn't mocked correctly, then they get really mad at you. So I have a ton of respect for the guys that do like 50 mocks in the next 2 months or so. But I'm of the mindset that I just think it's a stupid exercise. Like, I think it's fun. I think people have fun with it, but I think it's a waste of time. I think what fans need is more research and more availability on the players themselves, not just like, hey, what do these guys do? Give us like a breakdown of this and all of that. But that's just my opinion. The mock draft obviously gets consumed way more than anything I just named, and the guys that do it do a fantastic job. But I just wanted to share that. But ultimately,
no. And then the other thing is, Vish, and I think you're the one who pointed this out to me. Look at a mock in January and look at the mocks in April. Never going to look the same.
Right. And that's why, if you remember, the one that always gets me is DJ Hayden and Bruce Irvin. Both those guys were third-round projections, like halfway through the draft process, through the combine. A week before the draft, everybody's got them as top 15 picks, and they both ended up going in the top 15. So it's just what creates buzz, who NFL teams like. But not to ramble,